Welcome to the SRE Dojo. I am your host, Amin Astani. Today, we're going to do some problems, so some systems troubleshooting problems on the service SadServers. So SadServers is a pretty interesting website, and they basically contain leak code-like problems, but systems instead of coding. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a subset of these problems over the next hour and try to address them live. The big constraint that I'm going to take on as part of this is I will not be using AI at all. It's going to be me, my memory of how to operate Linux systems, Google, no AI. So let's see how far we go and what we learn from the process, shall we? All right. So I already have an account on SadServers here, so I'm going to go ahead and start the first problem. This is the one question that I have done before. The rest of them that I'll be doing today, I'll be doing completely blind. I've only done this problem just so I understood how the service works. All right, so let's begin. Okay, so a developer created a testing program that's continuously writing to a log file, var log, bad log, and it's filling up the disk. And you can check, for example, with this command here. And this program is no longer needed. Find it and terminate it, and do not delete the log file. Okay, so we don't know what program is generating the entries to this log file, but we need to find out where that is. Okay, let's run it. It's going to take a few minutes while we fire up the virtual server. It's also going to give me a little terminal window, and then we'll just SSH in basically and solve the problem. Appreciate your patience. It's taking a little bit of time. Wow, this is taking a long time. I hope the owner of the system's getting paged. There we go. Okay, we have 10 minutes to solve this problem. All right, well, luckily, at least for me, this is a pretty easy problem. Let's see if we can find or look at var log bad log here. Okay, so the file does exist. Well, what we need to do is figure out what is writing to this file. And the way that we can do that is with a tool called LSOF, list open files. So what we can do is we can run LSOF against the file, and it will hopefully list out the processes that are reading and writing to it. Just taking a look at the reference here. So it should be as simple as LSOF. That's wrong. Oh, right. This isn't an actual terminal. LSOF var log bad.log. Oh, look at that. So we can see, as part of the output here, we have a process called badlog.py on process ID 590. Really straightforward. And the challenge here is we need to terminate the process. Well, the tool that we can use for this is kill. So I can say kill 590, which is the process ID. And off we go. And we can see that there are no processes reading and writing to this file anymore. So we will check the solution. And we see that we solved it. Fantastic. All right, well, that was pretty easy. Let's move on to the next problem here. So what we're going to do is go through all of the problems that say fix. They have hacking ones and they have some doing ones, but I think for the sake of this stream, let's just do all of the fixing ones. So the next one here is number 7. Bucharest connecting the Postgres. Let's click run. And then while it's standing up, we can read the description of the problem here. All right. So a web application relies on PostgreSQL 13 that's present on the server. However, the connection to the database is not working. Your task is to identify and resolve the issue causing the connection failure. The application connects to a database named app1 with the user app1user and the password app1user. And it will take 10 minutes to solve. All right. So hopefully there is an actual web application on this machine that we can take a look at. And then maybe figure out where the config file is. Maybe the config file is configured wrong. Maybe it just has the wrong connection string. Maybe it has a wrong host. Maybe a wrong port. So there could be all kinds of things wrong. But my current guess, without looking at anything, is that the application just has the wrong connection string. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see what's going on this machine. So I'm running PS. I just want to understand what's running on it. We do have Postgres on here. That makes sense. We have our TTY. We have cron, dbus, a logger, SSH, unintended upgrades. Huh. Okay. Well, there isn't really a web app on here, is there? Okay, then. So they have this test. PG password aquad user, this succeeds and doesn't return an error. Well, let's just run it. Maybe that's what they want us to do. Ah. Huh. Fatal. PGHBA rejects connection for host 127.0.0.1. Rejects connection. SSL off. Wow. All right. That's interesting. Even though we're talking to localhost, maybe we just need to turn SSL on. Let's become root. Let's see. What is this? Huh, where is the config file for Postgres here? Aha, okay. 13 main. There we go. And we see that there is a reference to pghba.conf. So maybe we take a look at this file. I'm using Vim. When doing problems like these, just choose a text editor that works for you. So we have IPv4 local connections, all. All right, so this thing describes how you're able to access the server, basically, according to the reference here. And we can see we have local all. Let's look at all of the fields. It says file controls which hosts are allowed to connect, how clients are authenticated, which PostgreSQL usernames they can use, which databases they can access. So the first field is the connection type. Local is a domain socket. And then host is either a plain or SSL encrypted TCP/IP socket, or host SSL is this SSL encrypted TCP/IP socket. So let's go to the bottom. And then we can see at the end of these lines, there's reject. Method can be trust reject. I wonder if this file is misconfigured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there is an example pghba conf. That might be good to know. For some reason my oh, the connection's closed. Did I already run out of time? Or I must have disconnected from it or something. Let's try that again. Okay, well, here's the sample that they have by default. For some reason, SadServers isn't working. That might be a hamper on our exercise today. Yep, there is something seriously wrong here. Let me... We might have to restart this terminal. Oh boy. All right. I wasn't anticipating debugging their lab hosting solution here. That's kind of goofy. All right, we'll see if it comes up. If we continue to have trouble, we might have to call this a little bit early. I only want to create a stream that's actually useful and fun, and so far it's been a little bit painful with this particular lab. All right, let's try this again. Okay, we're back in. So we'll go ahead and run this command again. So we produce the problem. Right, so this comp file rejects connection for host 127.0.0.1, user app user database app1, SSL. So it says that SSL is off. Okay, great. So let's become root. Let's go into Etsy, Postgres, see the files in there. And then again, pghba.conf was the config file that was complaining. Let's full screen this, go to the bottom of the file. Okay, so this is, you get Unix domain socket. And then we have IPv4 local connections, which is, I suppose this is the line that we're looking at here. So let's see if there's an option for SSL towards the top. Okay, so the first field is local is Unix domain socket. Host is either a plain or SSL encrypted. Host SSL is SSL encrypted TCP/IP. So you have host and host SSL. I wonder. So you have host SSL and host no SSL. What was the error again? It rejects connection. SSL off. PGHBA rejects connection for host, app1 user, database, app1 SSL on. Huh. Well, which one is it? All right, so we have host SSL and host no SSL. So I wonder if I just do this, host SSL. And can I just like restart? I wonder if that will be enough. Okay, so let's go ahead and run our command now. So I basically said this, it's an SSL socket. Okay, that didn't work. Maybe it's calling for no SSL. Now let's make sure that's an actual option on the top here. Let's see. Host no SSL. Aha. Okay. So I wonder if that's what that means. All right, let's restart Postgres and then attempt to connect. No, that doesn't work either. Okay. Well, to be honest, I haven't operated a whole lot of Postgres. I've done a lot of stuff with MySQL. So maybe we just need to go ahead and just throw this error in Google and see what it says. Totally okay if you're over your head. Oh, they have solutions. I don't want to look at that. That's cheating. That's cheating. We don't want to cheat. So let's just get the generic error here. Oh, we're on Stack Overflow. Lovely. Let's go back to our file. Let's go back to what we had before, which was just host, which in retrospect is both TLS and not TLS. Oh. Well, what's all this? Look at these two entries. There's two lines in here that basically reject everything. Huh. Well, that's probably bad. I'd say. Probably need to delete these. Let's just comment this one out. The weird clue is that we had two lines in this file that had the same thing in it. That was probably the telltale clue. So let's go ahead and restart Postgres again. And then try to connect. Oh, look at that. It was solved. Okay, the solution was a bit easier than I was thinking. Yeah, alrighty. So all that really happened there was that that HBA file was just misconfigured, and it had a couple of lines in it that basically rejected all connections. So, alrighty, well, we solved that problem. Great. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. Let's look at the next one. All right, so we have Bilbao. Ooh, Kubernetes, let's do it. While this fires up, let's read it. There's a Kubernetes deployment with the Nginx pod and a load balancer declared in the manifest.yaml file. The pod is not coming up. Fix it so that you can access the Nginx container through the load balancer. And there is no sudo. Okay, so you have a deployment with the Nginx pod and a load balancer. I wonder if they mean load balancer service. Well, hopefully I solved this, considering I am a Kubernetes instructor part-time. It would really stink if I don't manage to solve it within the time required. The pressure's on. Appreciate your patience as this server fires up. All right. Cool. Let's see what we got. There's the manifest YAML there. Let's just do kubectl get pods. Yeah, oh, it's a pending pod. Okay. Right. In the challenge, it says that the pod isn't coming up. So let's start there. What the heck is going on with this pod? Well, first, let's take a look at this manifest YAML. Aha. So we got a deployment called Nginx deployment, which is the problem one, and then we have a service, which is of type load balancer. Okay, I'm going to assume for now that the service is fine. Let's just look at the pod. Okay, so the pod is in pending. We have one replica. What's up with this image? Look at that. Image, localhost 5000 Nginx. Something tells me this is not a valid image at all. All right, well, let's fix it. So let's see Is it just Nginx on Docker Hub? So I'm on the Docker Hub website. I'm just looking at the images. So I'm wondering if it's just... Oh, okay. Nginx Trixie, Nginx stable, Nginx stable. Well, I wonder if I could just do Nginx. Oh, they're both impending. I'm still doing that. I'm acting as if this is something you can copy and paste. That's kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest. Ugh, gross. Well, that's what I get for not paying SadServer for SSH access. All right, isn't it describe pod? Or is it info? Oh my goodness. I'm having a moment here. Yeah, I just want to look at the full status. Because yeah, you can do get pods. That's fine. But I don't want to get pods. I want... Oh, it's describe. That's the verb. kubectl describe. And then we can do this. There we go. Field scheduling. Yeah, no surprise. 0 of 2 nodes are available. 1 node didn't match pod's node affinity and selector, and 1 node had untolerated taint. Preempted. 0. Oh, there's just like no. Well, that's okay. Yeah, look, node selector disk SSD. Right, so node selector's old school version of pod affinity. So when you do this, you're basically saying, hey, listen, you need to put this pod on a node with the label of disk SSD. And if there are no nodes with those labels on it, it won't work. So there are more than one problems with this pod. The first one being, well, the image was completely wrong. But this node selector, haha, that's what's going on here. So let's go ahead and remove this. We'll just delete that. And then let's do kubectl get nodes. What's going on here? They got 1 node that's ready. Can we do an OY? Maybe we get some labels on it? Well, at any rate, let's just resubmit this this deployment without any node selector and see if it gets scheduled on the remaining one that's here. So kubectl apply-f manifest kubectl get pods. Still pending? Really? And why does the age say 2 years long? Huh. Okay. All right, let's apply this fresh. Okay, it's still pending. Ugh. I want to use this like a terminal, but it's not allowing me to do it. That kind of works. Oh, okay. Insufficient memory. One node has untolerated taint. Insufficient memory on the node. Oh, interesting. Right, because we have limits. Yeah. I'm not paying close attention, aren't I? Look at these limits and requests. So, do we really need Nginx to have 2 gigs of memory? Probably not. So let's do. All right, let's be a little bit more sane. We can do a request for 100 meg. Okay, 100 millicores. Memory. Let's just say request is 100 100 MI, and then we'll do a limit on 500. So I'm basically saying, hey, like Nginx is going to be real cheap when it starts up. It's going to be 100 megs up to 500 megs. That's probably a good thing for Nginx. It probably takes a lot less than that. So let's go ahead and apply this. kubectl apply -f manifest kubectl get pods. Aha! Look at that. Containers creating. Okay, so there were 3 failures that we were dealing with here. We had a container image that was wrong. Our requests and limits were completely out of control. And then we also had a node selector that basically prevented you from being able to schedule this thing in the first place. Alrighty then. So let's wait for this container to create. Error image pull. Oh, come on. kubectl. Describe. Pod. Ah. That kills me. Okay. 0 nodes are unavailable. Insufficient memory. 1 node has untolerated taint. Still? I shouldn't have to delete the deployment, because if I modify the manifest and I set it, it should apply it and create basically a new replica set to apply from. So I'm really confused why I'm getting errors from this. I shouldn't have to do this. I think I'm doing something wrong, to be honest with you. But let's try again. Okay, so the container's creating. And if this doesn't work, what did we have on the nodes? It says it says that these things are ready, but I wonder. So I did kubectl top nodes to figure out what we got going on here. So we have this node, node 1, and it has probably 2 gigs of memory. So I should have enough memory here to schedule on it. Image pull back off. I ran out of time. Okay. Well, let's start it again. So where were we? We're going to have to redo it. So we weren't able to solve it in 10 minutes. We were screwing around. So if we remember, we had image pull back off, and we didn't know why that was by the time 10 minutes elapsed. So here's a bunch of tags. We could just do Nginx stable. That probably would be fine. Okay, let's wait for this thing to come back up and we'll give it a shot again. Right, so we had an assumption that, oh, okay, there's just one problem in the file. We found the first one, and we jumped on it rather than looking at the whole thing and reviewing it. So, let's start over. We saw that the image is completely wrong. So we're going to change this to Nginx stable. And then, our limits and requests are all messed up. So we'll go ahead and set requests to 50, limits to 100. Let's see if that works. I might be going a little cheap, but it's Nginx. This node selector is probably confusing things, so let's delete that. Okay. Now we should have a fixed manifest. Actually, one more thing. So we have app Nginx for the pod label. Let's make sure that our services selector maps to it. Okay, the selector does. Alrighty. Okay, great. So that seems sane. This protocol TCP thing is interesting. But we'll let's apply this. kubectl apply -f manifest.yaml kubectl get pods. Okay, we have a new one that is container creating. kubectl delete pod. Let's delete this guy while we're waiting for the other one to come up. So we'll just copy that, do that. Okay, kubectl get pods again. Huh. Okay, there's just one. Okay, we have image pull back off going on over here. Not sure what's going on with that. kubectl describe. We have to do pod. All right. Failed to pull image Nginx stable. Code deadline exceeded. IO timeout when trying to talk to the Docker registry. What the heck? Look at that. It can't even get the image. Oh. Is there a registry that's running on this machine? What was... Oh. Oh, there's a... Okay. So there was... Actually, I don't have the previous version of this manifest, so clearly I've done something wrong. I made some improper assumptions. So let's go ahead and destroy the server. We'll start up a new one because I forgot the param in there. And then after this problem is solved, we'll wrap up for today. SadServers does sound like a really fun activity, but given it takes a while for the server to launch, you only have 10 to 20 minutes to solve it. SSH isn't super ergonomic because it's a terminal. It's a window in a browser, not an actual SSH. I don't know if this is super entertaining. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. But we'll try one more time. But yes, the point behind SRE Dojo is I think it's important to always continue learning, learn about the craft, and practice and have discussions. And recently I've been following a live stream hosted by a gamer who plays old school Doom. And I was thinking, oh, wouldn't it be interesting to solve infrastructure problems in the same format? So this is very much an experiment, but I think in terms of, a weekly or maybe twice a month event where we're able to discuss SRE, I think that would be really nice. All right, so the image, this might be valid. I did not recognize this. I did not realize that you could just specify from a registry like this running on localhost. I thought this was a typo, to be honest with you. Okay, so let's fix this. So we're going to delete this node selector. And then our memory limits, we're gonna tone down. So requests memory, we're gonna bring it down to 50 megs, limits 100 megs, and we're gonna see if that works. And then we'll do kubectl apply-f manifest kubectl get pods. Okay, we have container creating here, running. Ha ha ha. Okay, looks like we might have solved this one. And then can we curl this? Welcome then, Genex. Cool. All right, well that was way simpler. The thing was I shot myself in the foot seeing the reference to a host and port. I didn't recognize that as a local registry. Okay. So we just solved a couple problems today. A fun little scenario here. But the whole point behind this exercise is when it comes to AI and using things like Claude Code, and it's just running commands for you. And when you have issues with your service that you're running, it will try to troubleshoot your stuff for you. And there's a point where you just forget how to do your job. When you're on call. And I really don't want for our skills to collectively atrophy because we're handing off, this task to an LLM. And LLMs are not super good at troubleshooting. Sure, there's a lot of commands it knows how to run, and it knows how to gather context, and it might be able to solve some problems. But I've seen scenarios where it's just running a whole bunch of commands, running them scattershot, and it's not really finding the actual cause. So today's exercise was really just a way for us to remember that the skill matters. Learning how to use a CLI matters. Understanding what's going on under the covers on a machine matters. And we need to keep up on that skill. Because if we don't, that skill will atrophy. And then when we're on call, we get paged and the AI can't save it for us. We're going to be stuck. So, I think it's important that we practice and keep our skill sharp. Okay, well, this was a fun experiment. I appreciate you watching. And next session, we might do something a little bit different, maybe something a little bit conversational, but I hope you had a good time. Thanks so much.